If you have been struggling to get sales from your design work or understanding what you really need to do to make money, I have the workshop for you. On September 23rd, I'm hosting my first ever Profitable Designer Workshop. This 1-day, 3-hour workshop is only $97, but I have a discount for all my podcast listeners. Go to carinagardnercourses.com/profit and put in the code podcast for $50 off. I can't wait to see you more profitable. Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life. Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about freelance work. You know, I'm always talking about surface pattern design, 3D design, I'm talking about digital design, but really up until this point, I haven't talked about freelance work, and I started my career being a freelancer. I loved the flexibility that came with being a freelancer, and I did a ton of different projects, logos for people, website design, what else did I did? I did a series of packaging, like soaps and bottles and that kind of thing. And one of the things that really inspired me to talk about this is that so much of my design experience came from that freelance design work, like kind of figuring out my own way, understanding clients, understanding pricing, how to set up my pricing. These are huge in the freelance world. So if you've ever considered freelancing, I think you're going to like today's episode. Okay, so I want to talk about how freelancing doesn't get you the residual income that I love talking about. You guys know in Design Bootcamp, I love talking about residual income. But what it does do, which is why I really am a huge proponent of it, especially at the beginning of your design career, is that it gives you cash quick. And back in the day when I did it, it was all word of mouth, right? Like people would find out I was a designer and they were like, oh, I have a friend who is looking for someone to design X, Y, and Z. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can do it. And I would, talk to them, have a client meeting with them. Is typically what happens. Have a client meeting, kind of understand what their needs are, what they're looking for, okay? And then I would quote them a price, which back in the day, my prices were very low, right? Because I just wanted to get my feet wet. Plus, gosh, you guys, poor college student, I was like, any money I can make, I am there for it, okay? And I just knew that the experience would be important. So I priced it, give them the price. They would say yes or no. And then almost always they said yes because my prices were so low. And then I would do the design work, get the experience. And depending on how you work with a client, sometimes you would come to them and be like, this is it. But most of the time you would say, this is what I've got. And then you would do maybe 2 or 3 revisions from there to get it to where you needed it to be. Okay. So a lot of times people really are scared of freelance work because they're like the revision process, right? Like having to make something for someone else. I think this is why so many people really go towards surface pattern design, because they think, oh, it's because I'm making something for me and something I like. And so that's why it's going to go so well. Generally, this is the reason most people don't get surface pattern design deals, because they're not thinking like the client. And in surface pattern design's case, the client is the creative director, right? And so very often they're like, I don't understand. Why didn't I get the deal? It's because they were so busy thinking about their own style and their own surface pattern design and how they wanted to make their own thing that they weren't thinking about the client. This is why I really like freelance design, because you start thinking about the client. Guess what? Several years later, and not even several years later, I started doing freelance while I was working on my Ph.D. But like a few years later, when I got my deals in scrapbooking and fabric, it's because I understood the client and I was going out of my way to produce for them, right? I wasn't just making because I just loved making. I do love making and designing, but I also understood that they had certain needs and certain market needs, right? And so that really elevates you as a designer, which is why I like freelance, okay? Because it'll make you better. Even if your prices are low to begin with, you guys, sometimes $100 is $100. And if you can do enough $100 projects, That's money in the bank, and it gets you better at Illustrator. It up-levels your skills, and you start understanding how clients think. There is a ton of power in that, tons of power. And I don't do any freelance work anymore. I just don't have the time for it. My actual design agency, my design business is so busy with what we do, you know, all of our SVG files, fabric files, printables, clip art. Oh my gosh, we do so many different things that we don't have time for freelance. One of the things I will tell you as a freelancer is that you get to raise your prices as you get faster, right? Or you can keep your prices the same and you just get faster. And so inherently, your prices become better, right? So like if you used to sell a logo for $100, right? And it takes you 5 hours to design that logo, you're only making, what, $20 an hour, okay? So you've got to think about it like that. If you are someone like me and you're super fast and you also understand how businesses work and how it should be used, right? Like a novice logo designer isn't going to know exactly how it's going to be used, right? So they might produce things that doesn't sit quite as well on a website or sit as well in print materials or sit very well on a t-shirt, right? But I understand those things, so I charge a lot more, and it usually only takes me about 20 minutes to design that. That is what happens as you gain experience in the field. And now I don't even take any clients, right? Like I just won't even take anyone. So just so you know, this is an area where not only can you make money, but you can make a lot of money if you are persistent at it. And I like it as a multi-stream strategy to your overall design career. I think it's a great way to just add a little extra income every month, whether it be $200, $500, or $1,000 of extra income to your plate. You know, like it just adds to the overall mix, right? So that's why I really like freelance work. Now, why am I thinking about freelance? Is because in Design Suite, we have a unique program in that the coursework that we have, you just get for life, like the lifetime of the website, CarinaGardnerCourses.com. So like if you come into Design Suite, you just get the courses, even new courses I've added. So we have inactive members, they will still see the new courses show up. And at the time of recording this, we have 13 courses and we have 4 courses coming out this year. And one of them, which I am working on right now, is freelance design, because I think that in order to have a good overall design education, you need to understand how to do lots of different things. Now, do most of my designers take every course in the first year? Holy cow, no. Most of them only take about 4 of the 13 courses, which is the other reason we make it lifetime coursework, because we want you to be able to go in and be like, now it's time to learn the silhouette class. Now it's time to learn the paper design masterclass. Now it's time to learn, this year we're coming out with a clip art mini class. So like we put a ton of coursework in there so that you can pick and choose what works for you, which is really fun. That's why we like it. So freelance design is coming out this year along with 3 other courses that I'm working on to make this well-rounded experience. And it just gets me excited because I watch my designers taking these courses and they're having these aha moments, like, oh my gosh, that's another way I can make money. Or, oh my gosh, I need to hyper focus here. Or, oh my gosh, like I need to be working on this shop. And that gets me super excited. So excited for the ways that you can be making money. My Design Suite members, they're making money. And that's the thing I see very often in other programs that always concerns me, is that their students, they take the coursework, they come out and they don't know how to make money. And I want you, especially if you're in boot camp this week, we've got a boot camp going on. If you're listening to this later, you can join a boot camp at any point. You can see when our next live is at CarinaGardnerCourses.com/designbootcamp. And what I really like about it is the fact that you come out of Design Bootcamp knowing really how to make money. Like what are the ways you can actually make some money? What are some strategies you can use to make money? And then if you come into Design Suite, the program, which is our mastermind program, you will actually be in community with people who are making that money and learning how to up level the design work so that you can make the money. And we talk about specific shops. We get into the nitty gritty details. I like calling it the weeds of your business, because that's where all the good work gets done, in the weeds of your design business. So that's really fun for me. So hopefully this has opened your eyes about freelance work. I know a lot of people don't like doing it because they don't want to deal with clients. They don't want to do market research. But if you go into it thinking of it as market research, there is so much power in it. And I'm so excited about the course, because I'm going to tell you, Design Suite members who are listening, we're going to really dig in some easy ways to get freelance work. So that's pretty fun as well. All right, guys, so glad to have you here with me. I look forward to getting to talk with you again soon. Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.